Do this in memory of me. Dear friends, the simple gestures of eating bread and drinking wine are family events in many cultures. On certain occasions, it becomes very, very important, like the feast of the Passover among the Jews. Jesus makes use of this festivity in order to establish the beautiful sacrament of the Holy Eucharist. He says we must do this in remembrance of Him by sharing the bread and sharing in the cup, not in an emotional or intellectual fashion, but from the depth of our heart in faith. He says, do this in remembrance of me, a remembrance which makes His presence real. Ordinary events of our life look so simple, and yet they become moments of encounter with the divine in the presence of Jesus. Jesus said, God knows the number of hairs on your head. The lilies of the field and the birds of the air are ordinary realities of nature, and yet for God they are objects of His special care and predilection. Our minds make differences between big events and small happenings, big people and small people, but God has no partiality. Romans 2 verse 11. On the part of God, every moment is a moment of genuine love and care for the world. Eucharist is a reliving of this gratuitous love of God, genuine relationship and connectedness with Him in faith. Jesus is able to transform a simple family gesture of eating and drinking and make it into a sacred moment. The relationship which emerges too is very sacred. Taking the bread, Jesus said, "This is my body which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 23 to 26. Jesus becomes the bread for all to satisfy the deep human desires, which is the ultimate end of every relationship. This is not a physical bread, but a spiritual bread, a bread come down from heaven. Satan tempted Jesus by asking Him to turn stones into bread and satisfy his hunger. He does not do it, though he had the power to do it. His power was to be used unselfishly for others. At the Last Supper, He turned Himself into bread to satisfy the hunger and thirst of many. He becomes the living bread. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. John chapter 6 verse 51. This bread brings about a deep oneness with God and with one another. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me and I in him. Just as the living Father sent me, and I have life because of the Father, so also the one who feeds on me will have life because of me. John chapter 6 verses 56 and 57. Eugene Warren, in his Christopher Notes, has a simple yet meaningful question. Is it chance or dance which moves the world? The Eucharist teaches us that it is not chance which moves the world, but God. God is the dancer, we are the dance. St. Paul expresses this faith in Acts 17, versicle 24 to 28. The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temples built by human hands. And he is not served by human hands, and if he needed anything at all, rather he himself gives everyone life and breath and everything else. For in him we live and move and have our being. This intimacy is expressed by the Eucharist. Eucharist, therefore, is a holy communion. It brings about a holy and sacred unity. Hence, Eucharist satisfies the deep hunger of the human race for love, for acceptance, and for recognition. God of the Eucharist fulfills the deep longings of the heart of man. St. Augustine very beautifully puts it this way: too late did I love you, O beauty so ancient and yet so new. Too late did I love you, for behold, you are within and I without. And there did I seek you. I, unlovely, rushed heedlessly among the things of beauty you made. You were with me, but I was not with you. Those things kept me far from you, which, unless you were in them, were not. You did touch me, and I burned for your peace. Pope Francis says, Holy Communion is not a reward, but a remedy. Eucharist is a remedy for our woundedness. Eucharist makes us whole and holy. May God bless you.